This is Goku Sun DBZ and welcome to a new 10 games recommendations list where I mention some games, mention the average price range, games I recommend you collecting from a specific generation, this time from the 7th generation. First up, at 10, I recommend checking out picking up, I think probably the Wii version. Personally, it's probably one of the better. Plus, it's a very reasonable price game. Now, this game, in my opinion, is a highly underrated, good, solid platformer game. If you are curious in collecting this, if you're like a Wii collector, in general you like platformers or Disney, this is a game I recommend picking up. You can find this game not too hard, easily under $10. I would say on average maybe $5 to $10 range, which is very reasonably priced, and it's a good game to pick up. But that's 10 on this list. Next up, at number 9, is a game that's going to be a little bit harder to find and a little bit pricier on average. And that being this, and yeah, unfortunately it's an EA game, but it's a very unique platformer type game, NSC, based around Alice in Wonderland, but it takes a much more darker tone, obviously, just from the cover alone, and rated M for mature. You can pick this up, I believe, also on the 360 besides PS3, but this is the one that I picked up. And yeah, this even includes an online pass to the original game, as you see. But on average, if you are curious about collecting this, being a very unique game, to say the least, this will probably set you back on average around $25 to $30, I would say on average, for Alice Madness Returns. But definitely recommend checking out just for its uniqueness. Number 8 is a very reasonably priced game, and that being Fable 3, in my opinion, a highly underrated game. Now, because of there being a lot of copies and a lot of people stupidly hating on the game and everything not being high demand right now, on average you can get this game for probably $5. If you're wanting a little bit better condition, I'd say probably up to $10, but yeah, on average $5 or $10. It's another game that is extremely cheap and great for collecting, especially if you're into RPGs and you don't mind linear games. And if you are curious about the game, I have a playlist here on my YouTube channel of full playthrough of Fable 3. Next up, at 7, is a really awesome, thoroughly enjoyed this game. Interestingly enough, it's a JRPG exclusive to the 360. It has people that were involved in Final Fantasy 7 and 8 in the creation of this game, and the music is great. Graphics are pretty good for the time, the gameplay is good, and I actually enjoy the story as well in this game. Now, if you are curious, on average, this game will run probably about $15 to $20. It's actually still not that bad, and given it's a great JRPG, and if you are a big RPG player / collector, Lost Odyssey is a game I definitely highly recommend checking out. And it's also backwards compatible with the Xbox One. At number 6, recommend getting a hold of Marvel vs. Capcom 3, Fate of Two Worlds, but more specifically the Collector's Edition, which of course comes in this awesome steelbook case. Now, on average, the regular base game will probably run you $10 to $15. If you're wanting the Collector's Edition, you're probably looking more around the range of maybe $25 to $30, like the Alice game. That's because it's the Collector's. Still, it's a really great game, and I highly recommend picking up even the vanilla base, because they never released a Still 10 version for the ultimate version of the game. And I think the artwork in the case alone makes it worth picking up the game. Plus, it's still a solid game, even if it has 8 less characters. Next, at number 5, is a great underrated action game from Capcom called Remember Me. I love the battle mechanics, the way you can customize your combos, as well as be able to manipulate people's memories. It's a fascinating game that takes place in a futuristic Neo Paris. Now, this game on average will only set you back probably about $5 to $10, so it's another game that's really cheap. And definitely worth picking up if you like action games. I really recommend this. It's definitely a criminally underrated Capcom game in my opinion. Coming at number 4 for the Wii is of course The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. And of course now this is the version that even includes the CD. This is definitely a good Zelda game, even though I don't like the motion controls much. Still, it's a great game. Probably the best Wii port, or rather Wii version, Zelda game, in my opinion. Still really fun. Love the graphics, love the artwork and the floating islands. Overall, if you're looking to get like this game, you're probably looking on average around maybe $30 to even upwards of like 35. It's definitely going to be one of the pricier games. But if you are a Zelda fan, really it's not that bad. I mean, it's still cheaper than what Breath of the Wild will cost you. At 3 is, of course, a game that has gained quite a cult following over the years from DICE, and of course that being Mirror's Edge, which is a game I definitely highly recommend. You can probably get this game on average for about $15, up to maybe $20, but I'd say around $15 range is about the average for Mirror's Edge. And it's a good game. Personally, I own it for both PS3 and 360, but I recommend probably getting the 360 because you can play it on the Xbox One, because it's backwards compatible game. But definitely, check it out if you've never played the original Mirror's Edge. It's definitely a game worth playing. Second to last, 2, Metal Gear Rising. If you love mindless action games with lots of great action, this is probably one of the last really good games I actually think from Konami. It was a really fun game. On average, you can probably pick this game up for around maybe $10. It's not super expensive, though. When I got this, it was about $4, so it's gone up a little since then. But I recommend getting it while you can still get it for a reasonable price, especially since I don't see a regular Metal Gear game coming again anytime in the near future. And this game is really fun, honestly. I love hack and slash action games occasionally, some mindless action, and it is fun. The music's good too. All around, it's just a blast to play. 1 is definitely a game worth your money. You can get this for probably about maybe $20 on average, and it's definitely worth that because you are getting Half-Life 2, the whole original game, plus you're getting both the DLC episodes on disc, and you're also getting Team Fortress 2 and of course the original Portal. So this game is more than worth the money you're paying for it, because you're getting 3 full games plus extra DLC to one of the games. So it is definitely a standout, and it's like a bargain in my opinion, the price on it. But this is it for the first of 2 10 recommendation lists of games from the 7th console generation. I'll see you next time. Same YouTube time, same YouTube channel.